C2 coordinate geometry of the circle, example 7. So for this question, for each part of it, I'm going to be finding where these lines intersect this circle here. So I'm going to do that via simultaneous equations. In A, I'm going to have the first simultaneous equation, which will be x squared plus y squared equals 8. That's the equation of the circle that we're given. And equation 2, I will have y equals minus 2x. So now, substituting in equation 2 into equation of the circle, equation 1, this will give me x squared plus minus 2x squared equals 8. Expanding this out gives me x squared plus 4x squared equals 8. Gather these two together gives me 5. X squared equals 8. Divide through by 5 gives me x squared equals 16. And remembering that 16 has a positive and negative root, that gives me x equal to plus or minus 4. Now, I need to substitute each x value back in turn to find out what the value of y is at each point. So I'll substitute them back into equation 2 because that's the simplest one to do. So first of all, substituting in x equals 4 will give me y equals minus 2 times 4, which gives me minus 8. And then substituting in x equals minus 4 into equation 2 again, this gives me y equals minus 2 times minus 4, which will give me positive 8. So this all means that between this equation of a circle and this line, there are 2 points of intersection, which are, well, when I substituted in x equals 4, I got y equals minus 8. And when I substituted in x equals minus 4, I got the y value 8. So these are my 2 points of intersection between the circle and the line y equals minus 2x. So that is part A finished. Moving on to part B, we're still going to have the same equation of the circle, but this time our second equation will be different. So we'll still have equation number 1, which will be equal to x squared plus y squared equals 80. But our equation number 2 will now be y equals 30 minus 2x. But we're still going to sub equation number 2 into our first equation. So this gives us x squared plus 30 minus 2x squared equals 80. Expanding out this bracket here gives us x squared plus 900 minus 120x plus 4x squared equals 80. Gathering together my x squared terms and constant terms gives me 5x squared minus 120x plus 820 equals 0. Now each one of these can divide by 5, so I'm going to divide the whole thing through by 5, which will give me x squared minus 24x plus 164 equals 0. Now from this, I'm going to find the discriminant. So that can be found by doing b squared minus 4ac where here my A equals 1, my B equals minus 24, and my C equals 164. And this will tell me how many roots this equation has, and therefore how many points of intersection there are between the line and the circle. So, B squared, 24 squared, minus 4 times 1 times 164. So that gives me 576 minus 656, which obviously will give me an answer which is less than 0. And when the discriminant is less than 0, that means that there are no real roots. And in this case, that means there are no points of intersection. Moving on to part C, that's part B over with. So moving on to part C, again, my first simultaneous equation will still be x squared plus y squared equals 8t, but my second simultaneous equation will be y equals 20 minus 2x. So again, sub equation 2 into my first simultaneous equation. So this gives me x squared plus 20 minus 2x squared equals 80. Expanding out this bracket will give me x squared plus 400 minus 80x plus 4x squared equals 80. Gathering together my x squared terms and moving my 80 over to this side will give me 5x squared minus 80x plus 320 equals 0. Now again, each one of these can divide by 5. So that's what I'm going to do, divide the whole thing through by 5. And that'll give me x squared minus 16x plus 64 equals 0. Now this can be broken up into x minus 8, x minus 8 equals 0, which is the same as writing x minus 8 squared equals 0. So that means that x equals 8 is what we call a repeated root, but we still need to find the y value at this point, which will actually be the tangent to a tangent to the circle. So now we're going to go back and sub our x equals 8 value into our second equation. So that gives us y equals 20 minus 2 lots of 8. 2 lots of 8 gives us 16. So that means that y equals 4. So there is a repeated point of intersection at 8, 4. And it might be good just to put on the end of their tangent to show that you understand that this means that this line is a tangent to the circle.